typically we are very interested in what's going to impact long-term cash flows. And you can see through the climate lens, you have near-term and long-term effects, either through adaptation, mitigation, on the risk side, as well as the opportunity side, all of that, which is going to impact valuations and long-term cash flows. And so to the extent that is affecting your company and industry, that's something obviously that professional investors would be interested in.
When you look at the broad investment universe, like the MSCI World, and only 40% of the companies disclosure carbon footprint on their own. All the other values are estimated by rating agencies. So for us as investors, there is a huge need to be more precise, to be more transparent, that we can make investment decisions that are completely in line with the carbon usage of companies.
For us, we're primarily interested in the sort of F of the financial of climate-related disclosure, and unfortunately that has been forgotten a bit to date. So I think there is, more that could be put out that really has a financial characteristic, as expressed in dollars or euros or yen, whatever the currency is. And that also links to the assumptions underneath that reporting. We really need to see consistency there in how assets are valued, how goodwill and impairment is calculated, and how that relates to climate scenarios. And I think there's a real role for the accounting profession there.
If we don't get information on climate or other important extra financial or financial information from the company, then a sophisticated investor like me does go to third parties or use other information sources or our own estimates. But this gives 2 or 3 problems. So one is that if we think it's a material factor and the company is not talking about it, we tend to downgrade the credibility of management, and we tend to put lesser weight on the quality of how that company is being managed. The second item is where we are getting information from third-party sources or we're estimating it. The likelihood is those estimates are going to be wrong to some extent, right? They are estimated data. So to the extent that we're having to rely on that, we may be relying on data which is more conservative and not an actual good view of where the company is, particularly where it's on a material factor.
From our perspective, as professional investors, scenario analysis is absolutely the most helpful thing that companies can provide. We don't know for certain, none of us know for certain, exactly how the path and pace of climate change will progress. But having an idea what the risks are for a particular company, looking at those in different scenarios, that's very valuable to us.
We need to get beyond the sort of the big picture and the long-term sort of ambitions to how does this affect what you're doing in the next few years. So, net zero in 2050 is great, but what are you doing as the first step to do that in the next 5 years? Where are you allocating your capital that shows you're starting that journey?
Don't let perfection be the enemy of the good with respect to disclosure. And there's a lot that we can learn from one another. There's a lot that companies are doing and contributing in different ways. So, please move forward, more disclosure, more conversation with investors. That's very helpful to us all.